Good morning, all of you. Any interesting articles in today's paper? What?
Pakistan and China are having a strategic partnership and moving towards this comprehensive economic partnership agreement.
Pakistan, China moving towards CEPA. Okay. Apart from that, India is a major
exporter of vaccines.
Okay, India is a major exporter of vaccines. India imports spike to China. To China or from China? So India exports technical heavy. That is what you see in the business section, right? Anything else?
AIB for sustainable investments and clean energy.
Sorry? AIB. IR only. Okay. So IR only news, these are the things. AIB is in the news. In Indian Express, there is also one more article about what? Pakistan under Financial Action Task Force. Okay. So if you are confused on what to read, what not to read in newspapers, you can visit that website iasips.in. It's easy to remember, right? iasips.in. It's my website only. You can subscribe there. So you'll get daily newspaper suggested articles like what to read, what not to read in newspapers. So that at least it will make your time valuable, right? You will know what to read, what not to read. So having said that, so today we are supposed to discuss what? India, Japan, Maldives, India, Maldives relations. I said Japan, right? Maldives. Okay, Maldives we can discuss. Nothing is there, but first we'll complete Japan. Did we start Maldives? No, right? We'll complete Japan quickly, and then we'll move on to what? Other areas. In the larger picture of things from last 1 week or 10 days, I'm telling you the same story, IR, right? So by now, all of you must have a very good idea on IR. On your own, you can tell me in your own words, what is the strategic significance of Japan? Why Japan is important to India? See, if you have to say one thing about Russia, what is the specialty of Russia to India? Defense. Middle East? Energy security. Okay. Then USA? USA again is more about defense and the impact. We can segregate again USA into trade, defense, and diaspora. Like this, if I have to do the same thing for Japan, what is the importance of Japan to India? What else? Culture. India and Japan share culture. Okay. Is it the first thing that comes to your mind? Japan? No. Japan means technology, right? Normally, whenever we see or when we think about Japan, mostly we think about Japan in the terms of technology, right? So before we start the class, what is the size of Japanese economy? So Japan is definitely a $5 trillion economy. That means Japan have money. Okay. What are the other limitations of Japan? Japan is not having any natural resources, but it has a very good marine resources. Okay. Right. Then Japan have limited population, aging population. Japan's population is aging. Okay. That means they are getting older. But Japan's have also something that is work ethic and technology. So considering all these things, Japan on its own have its strengths, which is money, industrialization, development, progress, let's say bullet trains, mobile screens, a lot of technological companies, right? Even collaboration wise also, if you see Maruti Suzuki. So Japan is a known in India, and we don't have hatred towards Japan like China. Okay, but Japan is also limited by its own lack of natural resources, manpower, skilling. Okay, so on its own, Japan is good and bad. Good in whatever it is, bad because of its own limitations. It's not bad because of something, it's bad because of limitations. Next, one more thing is psychologically, Japan is the only country to face nuclear weapons. It was on the receiving end of nuclear weapons. That means it was bombarded at Hiroshima and Nagasaki with nuclear weapons. So Japan suffered nuclear weapons. That ramification will always be there in the mind of Japanese people. But Japan is also famous for nuclear technology. Okay, that means they have used nuclear energy for peaceful usage rather than weaponization. This is the background. Now, again, if you go back and look into the World War I, II history, Japan was on the side of the Axis, right? Not the Allies. It even almost occupied India. It came very closer to northeast part of India. We have some historical significance in the northeast part also. So considering this, people forgot that more or less. Whenever we think about Japan now, we think more in the lines of bullet trains. Yes, Japan is about development. Having said all these things, now individually we know India, we know Japan. Now what is the common connecting thread? What is the common connecting thread between Japan and India? The most important thing is ocean. Indo-Pacific region is the common theater between Japan and India. And when it comes to other country, China is the common unifying element. Okay, we are united because of China. Common enemy. Enemy is my friend. Same logic, right? India and Japan are friends because of China. At the same time, there is one more common mutual friend, that is USA. USA is friend of Japan. USA is friend of India. So all three of us can work together. So if you remember the blue color map, Indo-Pacific map, these are all the common threads, right? Now, one more thing is India is in a receiving position, Japan is in a giving position. So we will take, they will give, and that is how our relations are maintained as of now. And most importantly, the personal relationship between Shinzo Abe and Prime Minister Modi escalated our relations. The person, the former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was killed recently, okay, him and Prime Minister Modi are good personal friends. Okay, so because of this personal friendship or personal leadership style, Japan and India relations grew stronger. Okay, and they obviously have common mutual enemy and support system, that is USA and China. Okay, next, one more thread that unites India and Japan irrespective of international relations is Buddhism. Yes, culturally Indians and Japanese have one common thing, that is Zen, that is Dhyan, or Dhyan has become Zen. Dhyan became Zen. So Buddhism is a common connect. Varanasi to Kyoto, there are a lot of cultural significances. So we promote peace, they also promote peace. We also believe in multipolar world order, they also believe in multipolar world order. We also believe in expansion of G4, I mean the UNSC Security Council, they also believe in the expansion of UNSC Security Council. So there is a lot of commonalities between India and Japan. You have to really struggle to find some issues between India and Japan. Why? Naturally, we are not geographically connected. Japan is very far away, and businesses and all these things, they will always have issues, good things and bad things. Collectively, Japan does not come into India's foreign policy explicitly. You have to drag Japan only because of China. So the opposite is true. If tomorrow China shows extraordinary love on Japan, see, historically they are enemies. Chinese people don't like Japan because once upon a time Japan was a colonizer of China. Once upon a time, Japan colonized some parts of China. Japan dominated Chinese. So Chinese always consider, like, hate Japan in a way. They have good trade and all those things, but culturally, Chinese do not like Japanese. Okay. Having said that, if somehow China decided to show extraordinary love on Japan, like, we are best friends, we should stop fighting, we should do more trade and all these things, then there is no common factor that pulls India and Japan closer. It is a push of China that is driving our relations. Okay, irrespective of that, we should strengthen our relations with Japan. Okay, so these are the most important things that you have to remember. Cultural significance is there, right? Movies wise, do you see any Japanese movies in India? Japanese movies. Tell me few. People love South Korean movies, right? Anime. Anime is very common. Okay. Manga. Japanese manga is very popular in India. No? It's chemical engineers. Are you aware of any Japanese connect? Social, cultural significance between Japan and India? Do you have any Japanese friends? No? Then? RRR is releasing in Japan. Rajinikanth is more famous in Japan. Rajinikanth have a lot of fan following in Japan. All the movies which flopped very nicely in India are super hits in Japan. Baba, right? He has a cult following in Japan. Yes. Jackie Chan, I think, is from Hong Kong. I think he will be very offended with that. Yes. Ramayana anime version is definitely, which is gaining popularity nowadays, thanks to Adipurush debacle. Okay. The disaster VFX in Adipurush, people are going back to Japanese manga, Japanese animation, saying it is 10 times much better than what you have. Then TV shows, Japanese TV shows, cartoons again, man, anime and manga, right? Naruto. Sorry. Korean again. Koreans will be offended, right? Japan from Korea. Example. You are saying, okay. I couldn't recollect any Japanese dramas as far as I know. South Korean dramas are very famous in India, even in Netflix and all those places. So I had to struggle a little bit, but Buddhism is a common connect and tourism. And one more major point is disaster management. Japan is in a highly seismic zone, Pacific Ring of Fire, right? So Sendai framework, the ones we use in the India disaster management, Sendai framework, it is originated in Japan. So India and Japan collaborate a lot on Sendai framework. Anything else? Japanese culture, food also. Any Japan food? China we have chow mein, noodles. But Japan, ramen. Japanese ramen is more famous thanks to Naruto, right? Again, ramen is nowadays famous in India, but momo, I am not sure. Momo is from Japan. Momo is probably, I mean, they have similarity. China, Japan food cuisines. It's steamed, right? Maybe, in my humble opinion, maybe momo is more famous in China batch. Okay. Yes. No. Nothing. Having said that, what are the other things? Geriatric care. Geriatric care means old age care. So Japan have a lot of old people. India have young population, so we can help each other out. Soaps. Okay. I'm not aware of that. Okay. We'll have to find out. Again, as I said, culturally it is a bit of difficulty, right? I think anime, manga, and some cuisines like ramen will be more than enough. And most important thing is Buddhism. These things will overlap. Ikigai, okay, Ikigai the book, Japanese philosophy. Kaizen is one more famous philosophy. Kaizen, K-I-Z-E-N. Kaizen is one more philosophy where Japan says, it's a Japanese philosophy which says that you have to improve 1% every day, like small marginal gains. What James Clear popularized in Atomic Habits, the marginal gains is actually the Japanese concept of Kaizen. Okay, even in industrialization and all these places. Toyota is very famous for Kaizen. They focus on quality over quantity. They always focus. That is Kaizen concept. Ikigai is also a way of life, just like Sanatana Dharma. Ikigai also says holistic life. So that is why Japan has one of the longest, people with long lives. 118, 115. There is an area in Japan where average age is 100 plus. So if you ask people there, how are they surviving so long? Ikigai, happiness. So globally interlinked world, right? Yes, what are you reading? Amphibian aircrafts by Japan. Okay. What is it? You're writing a keyword without even knowing what is it. Then what is the point? Tell me. Use your existing knowledge and tell me what is amphibian aircraft. Let her think, right? She is not even thinking that much that amphibian like frog can be both in land and water. She is just writing because she came to UPSC preparation. She learned some fancy words and she can use them. Okay. Trust me. I don't want to get into that. I'm fed up. Yes. Japanese art of folding papers. What is it called as? It's right. It's a very good. It's a very good practice. Cultural significances, right? Abacus is again China. China is more famous for abacus rather than Japan. Martial arts. Nunchucks, Shaolin, all these are Chinese, right? India to Japan. No idea. Surya's Seventh Sense movie. That is also towards China, right? I'm not sure. Judo. Origami. Yes, origami is famous. Judo. Yeah. Even Putin is very famous for judo, right? Cultural significances. Right. Next. Write down. Whatever you see on the board, you don't need explanations, right? But still we will discuss. So India and Japanese relations are very, very old. The common connect is Buddhism. So core is Buddhism. So Gandhi and Buddhism are the two major soft powers you can use almost in every country. Yes, Gandhi. If not Gandhi, Buddhism. If not Buddhism, then Swami Vivekananda. If even he is exhausted, then you can go for Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, at least any one of these people will be interconnected. Gandhi used to write letters to everybody from Leo Tolstoy all the way till Hitler. So whenever you find something, you throw a Gandhi. Gandhi is a soft power. Okay, Swami Vivekananda promoted religious tolerance. Buddhism, almost all East Asian countries have Buddhism. Buddhist connect is there. If none of these people are working, Rabindranath Tagore, again, especially to China, Japan, and India. Okay. Yes. So soft powers. Then food, music, dance, cultures, exchange of people. And a lot of Indian diaspora is also there in Japan. I think it's taekwondo. Okay. Without judo. Never heard. I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant of all martial forms. Cartoons. Acha. Never. Yes. I grew up in a different generation, perhaps, right? Like, yeah. So convergence areas. In 2022, we celebrated 70th year of establishment of diplomatic ties with Japan. What does that signify? That means from 70 years, we are continuously developing relations with Japan. And definitely, without doubt, you can say India is the beneficiary in this relationship. India gained a lot from Japan rather than the other way around. Japan do not actually need India, right? Our IITians is a different thing. They will go anyhow, even if you don't say that is a total different thing. IITians are there in there, Japan, USA, everywhere. Technologically, software industries and all these people will hire Indians for their skills. But normally speaking, they don't need India. You will see why. Next, our relationship is also special, strategic, and global partnership. Here, strategic in the sense containment of China, and global in the sense of term Indo-Pacific. The scope wise, if you see Quad also, India and Japan collaborate in Quad in a lot of areas. Did we discuss Quad? No, quad points. Okay, I told you like Quad is evolving from a trade grouping to a global grouping. So from emerging technologies all the way till vaccination, everywhere Quad is working. So who are working in Quad? Again, India and Japan. Okay, strategic again in the sense of two ends of Indo-Pacific region, right? On the one hand side, you have India, the other end is Japan. Between these two countries, we have entire Pacific region more or less. Okay, so they are very key players. If you remove Japan from Quad or if you remove India from Quad, then the entire program collapses because Japan and Australia do not have the extension and India also does not have the extension. So everybody is mutually dependent. Next, important terms. What kind of world do we aspire collectively? Shared vision of India and Japan is peaceful world. We want a world of peace, right? Stability should be there. It should be prosperous. And most importantly, the last line is rule-based order. We want a world where stability is there, peace is there, prosperity is there for everyone, but it should be based on rule-based order. Rule-based in the sense, either international rules like UN clause or UNSC rules or sanctions, these have to be respected. Which country is not following any of these things? China, right? UN clause, United Nations law of seas. Okay, South China Sea, China does not respect UN clause. UNSC resolution, is China respecting? No, China is not respecting. So that last line is a punch towards China. So India and Japan are saying China should follow rules and regulations. Okay. Then recently we elevated our multilateral world. Recently we elevated our partnership to 2+2 dialogue. I told you India has 2+2 dialogue with very few countries. India, Russia also recently, Japan recently, USA, then any other country, only 3 countries with Australia, 2+2 dialogue. Then long ago, if you remember, I gave you homework. Find out 2+2 dialogue with how many countries? No? No issues. So what does 2+2 signify? 2+2 signifies very close ties with the countries, especially in external affairs and defense, foreign and defense. So if we have it with Japan, means Japan is a very close country. What is the advantage? The more you talk, the more your your relations will flourish. Then we also have a common platform, that is Indo-Pacific region. Indo-Pacific region should be free and open. It's self-evident, right? In Quad time also we have discussed. Quadrilateral we collaborate, we know that. In the same way, if you look at this next point after the Quad, India has something called as Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. Okay, Japan has something called as free and open Indo-Pacific. You can place the words front and back on whatever. The concept is Japan promotes free and open Indo-Pacific. India promotes free and open Indo-Pacific. Everybody wants free and open Indo-Pacific. This point we have covered earlier also. Yes. But when you write India-Japan relations, they expect this specific technicality, like what Japan have done. Japan have promoted free and open Indo-Pacific. What did India do? Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. But both of them have one thing in common, that is ASEAN centrality. Do you remember ASEAN centrality? Yes? No? In the entire Indian Ocean, the heart is ASEAN. So both of them want to respect ASEAN's centrality. Using IPEF and all these initiatives, they want to take away the trade of ASEAN. Okay. Next. ASEAN centrality, as I said, is the core. Summary. So as he was saying, Pradeep was saying, what happened to Philippines, the 9 dash line, the entire drama. We don't want the drama to happen anywhere else in the Indo-Pacific region. Then Prelims questions. All these are prelims questions, right? Technically speaking, what are the military exercises we have with Japan? Dharma Guardian is one thing. Then Malabar is a multilateral, right? It's not about bilateral. It's a military grouping of Malabar exercise. And we are also working on countering terrorism. So Japan being a very good friend of India, whenever it comes to India, we announce some joint statements and all these things, right? So it also blames Pakistan for promoting terrorism. It also says that Pakistan should change its way. Whatever India wants to say, Japan will say yes, yes, yes. So that is how we are using Japan for counter. And the most moral framework here is Japan is probably the only sincerest country in the world which is not interested in nuclear weapons. But soon that might change. See, as of now, Japan is actually believing that world should not have nuclear weapons because of historical baggage. Japan is the victim. So it encourages the world not to have nuclear weapons. India also says the same thing, that we don't want nuclear weapons. As soon as Pakistan removes all the weapons, we will also remove the weapons. What will Pakistan say? As soon as India removes all the weapons, we will also remove. In the land of the blind, one-eyed man is the king. In the land of the blind, one-eyed man is the king. Okay. So in the sense, if India removes all the nuclear weapons, then if Pakistan have 2 nuclear weapons, who is powerful? Pakistan is powerful. So no country is foolish enough to actually remove all the nuclear weapons. So they will not go to that zero, right? Until something happens. Presently, as of today, Russia is warning about a dirty bomb in Ukraine. Yes. So if that happens, unfortunately, which we should not, okay, then the world will come to realization that nuclear weapon has been normalized. Dirty bomb means usage of nuclear material in a crude way, not a proper military launch. Okay, crudization or minification of nuclear weapons. It will be converted into a suitcase bomb or something, but nuclear material will be used. So that is also still very, very dangerous. So the world is moving towards such catastrophe, and people are happily worried about a lot of other things. Yes. So India shares this vision of not having nuclear weapons. Yes. Even Barack Obama had the same vision. He also wanted the same thing. Yes. All of you know these points, right? Nothing new. Next, Japan also encourages India's entry into nuclear suppliers group, and we are a part of G4. Who are G4? Brazil, India, Germany. Brazil, India, Japan, and Germany are G4 countries. They are the most probable countries to get into UNSC permanent membership, right? Yes. So G4 countries. So obviously we are part of G4. Japan is also part of G4. It encourages India's membership into UNSC reforms. So summary is UNSC reforms. Next, Asian African Growth Corridor. If you remember during Indo-Pacific time, I told you Asian African Growth Corridor. Japan is funding Asian African Growth Corridor, because the summary is, if Asia and Africa have more trade ties, then China's influence will come down. And we also launched SCRI. SCRI, you remember, right? What is SCRI? Supply Chain Initiative. So these are the important areas. See, the thing is, earlier we have covered all these things. It's a flow now. Just Japan is collaborating with India. Now, this is something we may not have heard about, like India, Japan, Clean Energy Partnership. What is Clean Energy Partnership? As the name says, clean energy. What is clean energy? Specifically here, more about electric vehicles, mobility, right? Technology into renewables. So India-Japan Clean Energy Partnership promotes technological transfers between the two nations in promotion of electric vehicles. So India needs more e-vehicles. E-vehicles are a good thing, right now we are in the mileage of 300 to 400 kilometers. Even the best of the cars are in the range of 300 to 450 kilometers. But tomorrow if there is a car which will give you, let's say, 600 to 800 kilometers range in one charge, then nobody will buy fossil fuel based, right now my only limitation is if I go outside Hyderabad, I may not find the charging points. They are also coming very rapidly, but there is a fear that I might get stuck somewhere in the middle of the road. But if my range is 600, so if I have to roam around the Hyderabad, there is no stopping me, right? You cannot travel 600 kilometers in one day just outside the Hyderabad. So more and more EVs, more technological transfers, more adaptation of EV. India wants to be the world leader in EV, right? And Tata is pioneering in that. So let's imagine African countries buying Tata vehicles, more and more Tata vehicles. That brings a lot of money to India. So that fulfill our dreams of industrialization. So EV is that next bus we don't want to miss. And Japan is helping us to move in that particular direction. Japan also actually promised bullet train. Okay, 75,000 crores or something. Japan told, you can take all that money with near zero interest. So Japan is willing to give 75,000 crores with almost zero interest between Ahmedabad and Delhi, or Ahmedabad and somewhere else. Okay, but even today it did not take off. Right, next. This also we have discussed bilateral currency swap. During Sri Lanka time, I told you what is currency swap. We have a SARC $400 billion currency swap. So Japan and India have $75 billion currency swap. This helps India a lot, especially in the context of rupee slide or in adverse events. So that means up to $75 billion India can directly give Indian rupees to Japan central banks. It's an agreement between central banks. 75 billion is a huge amount of money, right? It's a huge amount of money. You can understand the trust between India and Japan. Next, Japan also have something called as ODA, Official Development Assistance. Official Development Assistance. So Japan is interested to help India or Indian infrastructure, to develop Indian infrastructure. For example, metro rails, Northeast region. So wherever you need money, Japan is willing to give money. One such initiative is Initiative for Sustainable Development of Northeast region. That means Japan will give money to skill, train, set up shops, training institutes, skilling industries, all in the Northeast region. Why will Japan be bothered about India's development? Because Northeast is a sensitive zone. If Northeast people start believing that India is much better, there is no threat from China. That is one hidden agenda. But at the same time, Japan is a friend to India. Because India and Japan are good friends, Japan is giving money. We are using that money in lot of areas, not only in Northeast, but significantly Northeast. Next. Why Japan likes India that much? 70 years of cooperation. Apart from that, what can be the reason? Exactly my point, right? India is the only country which have the potential to withstand Chinese aggression. And it not say from 70 years we are this close. Did I say that? No, right? 70 years ago we started saying hi, hello. That is diplomatic relations. From 70 years we know each other. Okay, but our friendship started growing only recently. See, you have to become somebody, right? You also have to become somebody. If you have to have powerful friends, you also need to become powerful. If you see the timeline here, in agreements, first in 1952 we had a Treaty of Peace and Agreement. Then in 1985 we had Science and Technology Agreement. Okay, again in 2011 only we started working on CPEA. So last 9 years only, or 9 to 10 years only, actually we have grown a lot. Even if you see the nuclear cooperation, it is only in 2017. So it's not like from 70 years Japan is investing in India. And when did Prime Minister Modi come to power? 2014, right? So only after 14, it was taken to the next level, thanks to Shinzo Abe and Modi. So 8 years. So whatever you are seeing more or less is a product of the last 8 years, not 70. In 8 years, you can definitely say a lot of things changed. Chinese aggression has increased. After 2008, China became too powerful. So you are forced to find friends. Forget about all these things. Quad, when was Quad introduced? After 2004, we created, but only after 2008, 2010, it became powerful, right? Yes. And only after Galwan, we are 100% sure of what to do with Quad. So last 2 years. So China is pushing us to become friends. Buddhism and all these things, okay, thousands of years. That's a total different story. Will the dynamics between Indo-Japan be affected with the death of Shinzo Abe? So good question. Basically, it won't be as good as it used to be with Shinzo Abe. But the thing is, smartly what both sides have done is they have institutionalized these mechanisms. That means it doesn't matter who is the prime minister in Japan. These things are more or less institutionalized. That means there will be like a secretariat. If you take prime minister's office in India, it has a dedicated Japanese desk. That means anybody who is coming from Japan wants to do business in India, they have a single window clearance in PM office in India. So it doesn't matter whether it's Rahul Gandhi or somebody else or Yogi Adityanath is the prime minister of India. Japan will always be a closer friend to India. So institutionalization is more powerful. Okay. So again, both of us have, I think that answers her question, right? So linking Japan, Asia. So there is a concept called as AWIN, Asia Health and Wellbeing Initiative of Japan. Okay. Japan wants to link it to India's Ayushman Bharat. Now, what is Ayushman Bharat? What is Ayushman Bharat? Do you have an idea? No? Never heard. Never heard also. Very good. Yes, Vaishnavi, what is Ayushman Bharat? Ayushman Bharat is to increase life expectancy. I was not aware. Varun?
It's a mass health insurance scheme for all the people who don't have accessibility and affordability to healthcare, basic healthcare.
So what exactly does Ayushman Bharat do?
Would be, what I've seen is that it's more like for AP's Arogya scheme. When someone goes to hospital, the government will, the hospital will get the money from government for whatever the treatment that has been done to the poor people.
So it's an insurance scheme, right? Like anybody can go to the empaneled hospitals for empaneled diseases or listed diseases and get the treatment up to certain amount of money. For example, up to 5 lakhs, you can get the free treatment. So that is Ayushman Bharat. And India also have the dubious distinction of having the world's largest malnourished and stunted children. So Japan and India collaboration on health sector will help India to fight poverty, malnourishment, health and other issues. Okay, so you can see that Japan is not only limited to technology. There are different dimensions on India-Japan collaboration, from health all the way till space. Yes, from development of Northeast to climate change. Everywhere Japan and India are collaborating. Okay. Next. See, e-vehicles is again one of the agendas, right? India promised in Panchamrit principles to reduce its carbon emissions. Now, what is Panchamrit principle? Ever heard? Panchamrit. Heard? No? 2070 net zero emissions. That is Panchamrit principle. Definitely 2070 net zero emission is one of the Panchamrit principles. Apart from that, we also promised to reduce our fossil fuels, limit our carbon emissions. So all these things will be possible with the help of Japanese cooperation. Okay. So try to find out what are the Panchamrit principles. We have written down. Good. Next. As you can see, we also have collaboration on regional navigation. For example, Navic. I think in today's newspaper also there is an article about Navic, right? Navigational system, regional navigational system. So Japan and India are also collaborating on development of navigational systems. Defense, for example, Japanese space agency, that is JAXA and India ISRO will collaborate on defense, identifying the satellites, maritime domain, security. It will provide a good amount of space technology to ISRO. What India have is a regional navigation system. Okay, when it is expanded all over the world, normally it is called as global positioning systems or global systems. So regional navigation systems are different from global systems. GPS, Chinese Baidu, and Russian GLONASS are technically global navigational systems. Okay, whereas Navic of India is a regional navigation system. So we are also working in that area with Japan. Okay. Today newspaper is full of prelims questions, very good questions. Navic. Yes. So please spend time on current affairs. Do read newspapers. Navic, regional navigational system. How many satellites in Navic? Any idea? Seven satellites are enough for a regional navigation system. No idea. Engineer? No.
Recently, India said that satellite navigation before India is not
Recently in the sense 2015.
for navigation.
Okay.
There is
Yes. So again, that is a previous year question. I told you, right? Look up all the PYQs. So Navic is a PYQ. GM is a PYQ. Genetic mustard. What is GEAC in the today's newspaper? Full form also, if you know, that is fine. GEAC approved GM mustard. That is the headline. Full form also you should know. You have notes. You're saying the headlines. Good. But if you see the newspaper and if you don't know that is guaranteed prelims question, then you will treat it like any other question, right? I mean, what Arvind Kejriwal said that Lakshmi Devi should be on notes is as important as GM crops. Then both are useless. But in reality, GM crops is like every year at least one question will be there in prelims. So GM, like what is the role of genetic engineering appraisal committee? Okay, when will GM crops be allowed into India? What are the crops that are allowed in India? Are there field trials? What is the difference between field trial and allowing it to the masses? Okay. Next, what is the role of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, MOEF and CC? Does it have any say in GM crops? Okay. How is the GM crop created? Every single thing is a prelims question. Go back and see PYQs. You'll understand the depth that UPSC expects to. You don't know. Okay. They will simply add GM mustard is developed by some university. You should know whether it is developed by Punjab University or it is developed by someone else or it is developed by government or a private company. Right? Are GM crops allowed in India? Today they give permission. Who? MOEF and CC give permission. Are there any 7 active Delhi University? Food crops, are there any GM food crops available in India? Then the topic will spill over into BT brinjal, HTBT. Yes, everything is one single bit. It's all interlinked. Herbicide tolerant BT brinjal. That is totally different from BT brinjal. Is BT brinjal a genetically modified crop? Okay. Does India have, did India allow GM food crops? Or is it only limited to commercial crops? Now again you have to go back and read NCERT geography to know the difference between commercial crop and a food crop. Yes. Prelims questions, PYQs. NAVIC also have 7 satellites. The questions will be not that simple, right? The questions will be how many of them are in geosynchronous, how many of them are in geostationary. That is UPSC. Simple. Now you have to know the difference between geosynchronous and geostationary. One more bouncer, right? Is it a PYQ? Definitely. They have already asked about geostationary. Why does it appear to be geostationary? Yes, UPSC is simple. No? Okay. Please read newspapers with syllabus copy and PYQs. Yes, or else happily sleep. That is much productive. Next. Energy security. Yes. That is why I said, if you have the basics, current affairs is easy. If you don't have the basics, current affairs is always difficult. Vice versa is never true. If I know current affairs, I won't know the basics. For example, simple questions like nuclear support. What kind of reaction happens in a nuclear bomb? Okay, nuclear fission or fusion? You tell me. Varun? Fission or fusion? Fission in sun. What kind of reaction happens in sun? Fission or fusion? One more war in class. Faster. Yes. Fission or fusion? Sun. These are all called as basics. Okay. Energy security. So nuclear cooperation. So Japan is having nuclear technology. Japan is willing to give that nuclear technology to India for peaceful usage of nuclear development. Okay. And as I said, Japan is a country which faced nuclear bombs. In spite of this, if it is trusting a different country to get the nuclear technology, that shows a friendship between India and Japan. You must also be aware of an incident called as Fukushima disaster. In 2008-2009, there is a tsunami in Japan. Okay, the tsunami and the earthquake was there. Earthquake led to tsunami, and tsunami hit the Fukushima reactor. So because of this, some nuclear waste material has been spilled over into the sea. So nuclear reactors are not safe thing. After that, Japan decided to block or stop the energy production from nuclear reactors. So this is a very famous incident called as Fukushima. Okay, Fukushima tsunami disaster or earthquake disaster. It led to a lot of problems. So then Japan decided to stop all its nuclear reactors. But nuclear technology is safe, right? Comparatively to coal, nuclear is a much cleaner energy. But the problem was in Fukushima, what they have done is they stored the nuclear waste also there only. Once you use up the rods, fissile material, and all those things, you are supposed to take that toxic waste and put it elsewhere. But they have kept it on the shores of the sea because nuclear reactors need a lot of water. When the tsunami hit, it has hit that go down also. That means in the sense the storage unit. So that led to more problems. Okay, and there were also fears that what if the tsunami has hit the core nuclear reactor? Something like Chernobyl would have happened, right? So that was used as a fear to stop Indian nuclear reactors in Kundankulam and other places. So Japan is saying that we are anyhow not interested in using that, but there are a lot of stable places in India. You can use the nuclear technology. So India and Japan can collaborate on the thing. But nuclear technology is always comes with fear. Yes, you are upright. Availability of, again, that is what I'm saying. You need the technology to convert them into usable material, right? Like there are different types of nuclear reactors. Yes, 3-stage nuclear reactors, 2-stage nuclear reactor. There are some ones which will directly use the raw material. There are others which will refine the material. So refinement of uranium and all these things also happen. So the concept, right? Like to make it into a weapons grade, you need to enrich it further and further. So that technology is what India needs. Both co-development and sharing. They already have the technology, right? They will give it. Next is trade. India and Japan trade. Some interesting areas in trade is, first one is CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership. If you go to the Google and search for the document, it is 1,000 pages long. Yes, that means it is comprehensive. What is the meaning of the word comprehensive economic partnership? Comprehensive means almost everything that India will export or Japan will buy, everything is listed in that document saying we will buy this, we will buy that at this interest rate or this import rate. So it promotes more stability to the trade. Okay, in spite of all the drama, we only have around 20 to 25 billion dollars of trade with Japan. We are not actively doing a lot of trade with Japan, so that is a problem. So comprehensive economic partnerships are a sign of closeness. So what are the signs of closeness? You have bilateral swap, you have CEPA, you have 2+2 agreement, right? So all these things show that Japan is a close friend of India. Next, you also have one more thing called as industrial competitiveness partnership. The thing here is India lacks industrial development. India is one of those countries which jumped directly from agriculture to service sector. We missed the middle second sector, that is industrialization. Japan is famous for industrialization. When you read world history, you will come to understand how Japan is the last entry into the industrial world, but still become an industrial hub. So Japanese companies are very famous for industrialization. So we can leverage that technological help. So you can use this in supply chain resilience, right? Diversification of supply chains, product linked incentive schemes, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Okay. And the third one is interesting. Digital partnership. India-Japan digital partnership. Now, India is having a lot of startups specifically on fintech. What is fintech? Finance plus technology. Fintech companies are the next gold mines. Fintech companies, all the smart apps that you see, banks, neobanks, everything is fintech. Okay, so Japan wants to give money and encourage startups in India. If you think of it like this, let's say Japan produces hardware, India will produce software. Collectively we can grow. Collaborations will be there. That is one perspective. India-Japan digital partnership. Okay, best example is UPI. UPI is a fintech product, right? It promotes financial inclusion, ease. In Western countries, they do not have anything even remotely closer to UPI. Indians are living in a whole different planet when it comes to spending money. All you have to do is scan the QR code. Yes, in West it is not even possible. Okay, we forgot about debit cards. So debit cards are more or less gone, right? Like people use debit cards, but the dominant thing is UPI, and UPI is growing in scales, leaps and bounds. Yes. When is the last time you went to ATM? Unless somebody forced you. If someone literally demands for a cash, only then you go to ATM, or else everywhere else you're totally happy to deal everything with UPI. Cash is not being used, at least in metro places, right? So that's a very good thing. Less cash economy is being built. And if we promote more fintech, more apps, more ease of usage. For example, neobanks. Neobanks. Are you aware of neobanks? Never heard? Everything is online, right? eKYC, electronic KYC. You don't have to visit a physical institution to get your bank account opened. Okay, I remember me opening SBI bank account. Somebody has to give surety. Okay, my neighbor was an SBI employee, so obviously he gave the surety. You had to fill an entire lengthy form. You had to visit for 3 or 4 times. Then debit card will come after 15 days. So all this drama. So if I open a neo bank account now, I don't even have to leave my house. Okay, they will come if need be, or else even that is done online. Everything will come to my home within 1 or 2 days. Okay, and within 5 minutes of opening my bank account, I have a virtual card. Virtual debit card, which will function even internationally, right? So that is the power of neobanks, new kind of banks. So all these things are happening only through fintech companies. Okay, neo. Any examples of neo banking? FI and Jupiter. These are neo banks. Prelims question. Definitely prelims question. Neo banks. FI, have you seen FI? No. Jupiter, you must have seen ad. No, not even ad. No. You have one card. There are a lot of in Swiggy coupons, exactly. Swiggy coupons, you can see this one card slice. So they're neo banks. Razor Pay is not a neo bank. Razor Pay is a payment gateway. But again, Razor Pay is definitely a fintech company. It is leading pay. Whenever you open the payment, right, one desk or a bill desk and Razor Pay will come. So Razor Pay is a very popular fintech company. Slice. So technically, Slice is also one kind of fintech company. Fintech company, because it will allow you to pay in EMIs, right? So RBI is coming down very heavy. RBI is saying all this drama should stop. You should pay in one time. Okay. People are taking loans and not paying back, right? So that is a problem. And having said, so that is the power of startups. So you can understand. See, the thing is, if Japan is pumping money and Indian startups are promoting fintech apps, tomorrow we will expand the same fintech to Africa, Western countries, Europe, or South Asian countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, everywhere. Then Japanese influence will come down. Chinese influence will come down. So that is advantage, right? So if India is occupying the market, nobody will use Chinese products. So that is also loss to China. That is one advantage to India. Okay. Yes. And yesterday I was scrolling through Twitter and somebody was saying, no, people who are working from home are going to Vietnam as a break. Right? Vietnam is the new Goa for Indians. So you work from their internet, right? It doesn't matter whether you are in Vietnam or India or Hyderabad. Okay. So you stay very cheaply there, 400, 500 rupees per day in Vietnam. Same charges in Goa also. You take a bike, 400 rupees per day. You roam all the day. 6 hours you work. The rest of the time you are enjoying on Vietnam beaches. So that's it. People will innovate. The more technology comes into the picture, you don't know how connections will develop. Work from home is possible only because of good internet connections and fintech companies, right? If there are no fintech companies, more technology, we probably won't have more connections. So we will never know how things work. This is called as cross-disciplinary knowledge. One thing will help in another thing. And Japan is famous for technology. So Japan wants to help us in a lot of areas. Most famous being 5G technology. That is a prelims question. This time pakka, hopefully. 5G was launched in India. Are you using 5G? Then 4G is not properly functioning, right? Next, quantum computing, quantum communications, submarine cable systems. Internet comes to submarine cable systems. What is specialty of quantum communications? It reduces the hardware waste. Okay. Minimizes the size of computers. Okay. What else is the advantage of quantum computing? Is it important this time for UPSC? Why?
Nobel Prize.
Yes. Quantum what? Quantum entanglement. You have heard about it. Good. Quantum entanglement is something that was awarded Nobel Prize for Physics this year. So I encourage you to know at least the basics. That will have spillover effects onto quantum, lot of areas, quantum computing, quantum communications. Okay. Any idea of what is that stage where it is both positive and negative at the same time? Things will increase. Well, and as of now, I don't think that sizes of quantum computing will come down because it requires a very specific kind of temperature setup and all those things, right? So as far as I know, quantum computing is more about its ability to calculate, faster than anything that is available on the planet right now. So that is one perspective. Quantum computing is about speed, ability, and it can use that quantum stage to store more data, process more data simultaneously. So it is more about speed. Whatever encryptions we are seeing are technically unbreakable with existing technology, but using quantum computing, probably the encryptions can be broken. So that's the threat actually.
This technology is developed, we will adopt quantum encryption. So it will be difficult for them to break. Now that this 256-bit encryption is the practice that we can.
With what?
You were saying that if quantum comes, like the normal encryption which we have for payments, 256-bit, that will be broken. But when the technology really comes, in place of 256-bit encryption, we will use quantum encryption only now, sir.
Again, that is what quantum encryption will come. China is already moving in that direction. China is ring fencing its entire internet with quantum encryption. What I'm trying to tell you is, we are not still there. The world is not there. Somebody is there. That somebody is either USA or China. See, even Aadhaar is, I was told, is 1024-bit encryption, right? So it's very difficult to break, but only time will tell what will happen. So Japan is also one of the largest investors of FDI in India. Japanese companies invest in India. Where do they invest? All of you know, automobiles is a very common factor. Yes, Toyota, Maruti Suzuki, Honda. Honda is also a Japanese company.
Yes.
So automobiles is a one very famous sector where collaboration is happening, and Japan and India are working on FDI. And whatever Northeast and all those things I told you is ODA, Official Development Assistance. So simply put, Japan is pumping money into India in different sectors, or it is helping us in science and technology. So Japan means energy security, Japan means money, development, assistance, and science and technology. Japan have good number of bullet trains. Do we have bullet trains? One. In theory. At ground level, we don't even have a railway track. So the fastest, I think, is this Vande Bharat Express, right? 160 plus. Through co-development, that is one more advantage of India and Japanese companies. Co-development, that means they will transfer technology. Maruti and Suzuki combinedly working, right? So technological transfer also happens. We have strong train engines to run anywhere. Yes. And geography is also a very important point. Definitely agree with this point that we don't need bullet trains. We need faster trains. Even 200 kilometers will do for India. If there is a train between Bangalore and Hyderabad, we don't need a 450 miles per hour train, right? Even 200 miles per hour will also do, or kilometers per hour will also do. So right now it will take 7 to 8 hours. It will take 3 to 4 hours. Still, people will be more than happy. At 5 p.m. if I get into the train, by 9 p.m. I will be in Bangalore. So that's a good progress, right? Faster the movement of goods and people, the more interactions will happen. Or even if you develop metros, for example, metros which will go outside the Hyderabad, 120 kilometers per hour, it will hardly take me 40 minutes to reach outskirts of the city. Then urban congregations will come down. Right now, I am forced to live nearby my office so that I will reach my office very quickly. But if metros are very fast, then I don't have to live near the office, right? I can stay far off also. So all these things will sooner than later happen in India because of the urbanization. Okay. This Hyperloop is again, that is Elon Musk. We will see how it goes. Hyperloop, I am not sure Hyperloop will take off, at least in India. Yes. It takes a lot of money. Yes. Let Elon Musk buy Twitter first, then we will see what happens to the world. Right. Now issues, as I told you, we need to find issues. What are the issues? We don't have enough trade with Japan. Can we have more trade with Japan? Definitely we can have more trade with Japan. China and Japan have more, around $100 billion of trade between them. So that's a good thing. India do not have good trade. Next, we can invite a lot of Japanese companies to use our PLI scheme, product linked incentive scheme. See, simple logic. If you are a Japanese company, you come set up shop in India, you manufacture cars, bikes, whatever you want to, you export them to rest of the world, Africa or any other country. The more you produce, less taxes you have to pay. Product linked incentive. That means more products you produce in India, I will give you incentive. So Japanese companies will have advantage to set up shop in India. India will export more goods to the rest of the world. It's a win-win scenario for India and Japan. So PLI is a golden opportunity for both of us. Okay. Next, there is something called as Osaka track. That is also a prelims question. Osaka track. I told you about Osaka track long ago. Do you remember me telling Osaka track? So it's about data localization. Right? So there are three things I told you: data localization, data free flow, and data free flow with trust. Okay. So India says data localization should be there, whereas West says data free flow should be there, whereas Osaka track, Japan suggests data free flow should be there, but with trust. So Osaka track is about data free flow. India is about data localization. So that is an issue between India and Japan. We both are not agreeing on the data localization aspect. Okay. And we can again dig and find out issues. Like Japan is more interested in the right hand side, that is the Pacific part of Quad, whereas India is focused on Indian Ocean part of the world. There is a difference of opinion on what is Indo-Pacific, right? If you remember Indo-Pacific classes, Japanese perspective, strategic point of view, Japan wants to control China in the Pacific Ocean region, whereas India's focus is corely focused on Indian Ocean region, because our money is in Indian Ocean. Japanese money is in Pacific Ocean. If you call it as an issue, we can write it. Like India focuses on Indian Ocean, Japan focuses on Pacific Ocean, just because you have to fill a slot. Okay, but collectively we can dominate Indo-Pacific region. Okay, e-commerce platform Osaka track, you understood, right? Osaka track is more about data localization. India wants data localization, Japan wants free flow. When data flows freely, that is when startups thrive, right? It's all about data analytics. Next, for example, for implementation of projects. Japan said, you construct a bullet train, I will give you money. But still we could not collect all the land also. Farmers protested, cattle protested, everybody protested. Yes. So when somebody is saying construct a train or construct a connectivity project, okay, you have to take it on a serious basis, right? You are just postponing it, the red tapeism and all these things. That means it's a wastage of money. So tomorrow a future politician of Japan will say, we already promised you to develop a project, you are not even taking it seriously. Why should we promise new projects? So again, all these are hypotheticals, example wise. Okay. Next, the last and most important point is proactive cooperation on more areas. Japan is not only about automobiles, Japan is about friendship, right? Long-term friendship. We should work on very closely with Japan, let's say on quantum computing or other areas. More areas means more cooperation. India should take that very seriously. Now coming to the current affairs part, Sendai framework is already there, right? Yes, definitely. Disaster management, we are learning from Japan, and Japan is also learning from Indian experiences. So we are collaborating on defense. Now the change in ideology, the contemporary part, you should remember what is happening in 2022. Russia-Ukraine war very clearly sent a message to Japan that nobody is coming to your rescue. Think about it. I am NATO. I promised Ukraine that if something happens to you, okay, we will support you, we will take care of you. But in reality, what happened? Ukraine is fighting a battle on its own. It is getting support from West, weapons wise and all these ways, but the ground level death and all these things are happening only to Ukrainian citizens or Ukrainian army. Okay, technically Japan do not have a standing army. It has a very limited amount of standing army. Okay, it's not even army. Okay, for sake, Japan do not have a full-fledged standing army, right? Then Japan do not have nuclear weapons. Yes, at least West have a nuclear weapon. Russia is threatening nuclear weapon, but still nobody is bothered about it. If China decides to attack Japan for some reason, some skirmish came and Japan do not have a nuclear deterrence, who will come to Japanese aid? So the story somehow goes like this. In theory, Japan have few friends. Who are those friends? India, USA, Australia. Okay, and the major competition is China. So China might threaten Japan. Okay, so what are the things that are missing from Japan? And lot of weapons. See, Russia have a lot of weapons like missiles, stockpile, and all these things. Japan technically have something, but it is not fully dependent on weapons. So Japan have its own disadvantages. Okay, whereas India, USA, and Australia might come to its rescue. Okay, might coming to is one thing, and coming is one thing. What will India do? I don't think India actually will do anything. We will give one statement, just like Ukraine. Please stop fighting, start talking. Diplomacy should win. Okay, that is India's contribution. Australia do not have that financial capacity nor missile system. The only country which might do something is USA. What will USA do? It will not send its army. Definitely USA is not going to send its army. Joe Biden already made it clear multiple times. So weapons support might be given to Japan. Worst case scenario. Okay, now Japanese are rethinking to go for all these things. So Russia-Ukraine war changed the mindset of entire country, realizing that we have to be self-sufficient in certain things. We cannot live by principles of 70-year-old. That means in 1940s, whatever happened is a bad thing. But in 2022, if you still say, I don't want nuclear weapons, if something happens to you, there are no friends. But all these countries are supposed to be members of what? They are supposed to be helping each other. If NATO, which is officially a military alliance, is not doing anything, why will an unofficial military alliance will do anything? Right? And your economy will collapse. So that is even bigger threat. So the present Prime Minister of Japan or the next generation of Japanese are willing to take this risk. They are willing to go for, you know, armament, weapons development, arms, weaponization, even going for nuclear weapons. Just imagine Japan having nuclear weapons. How irony it will be. Okay, but will be used as a deterrence. Okay, this is a major change that is happening in 2022, and India is in a good position to leverage all these things, whether indigenization of weapon or collaborating with Japan. So we should be more proactive. Okay, quantum computing, entanglement, communications. Okay, and Japan also is very good in maritime security. I mean, undersea submarines. Okay, especially undersea landmines. Okay, floating landmines. Technically, Japan contributed that to. So we can use that to restrict the movement of Chinese submarines. So weapons, I mean, defense-wise, India and Japan can collaborate a lot more rather than what they are doing as of now. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing, the same thing is more or less happening in Europe. Many European countries are also interested to develop weapons now. Germany and other countries which were not investing in weapons till now, they are also severely interested in investing in weapons thanks to Russia-Ukraine war. So again, we can join hands. Okay, and you remember IPEF, friendshoring and all these concepts. So if Japan wants to invest, what is the best next destination? India. So alternative supply chains and all these things can be developed within India. So India should be very, very proactive in bringing all these things. See, when the heat of the moment is there, when people are afraid of China or irritated by China, that is when opportunities will come, right? India have to grab all these opportunities with both the hands. It should give special treatment to Japanese companies, provide more incentives, make the ease of doing business as soon as possible, allocate lands, more. This is the right time. I'm pretty sure Indian government is doing all these things. We may not be aware of the grassroots level things, but the thing is, it will work out. Okay, so this is a way forward for you to think. Apart from whatever we have discussed, defense, there is a lot of scope for improvement collectively. Alternative supply chains is one more thing, and India can work in both these areas. Okay. Something that you did not understand? Understood everything? Good. Do let me know if you have any questions. Yes, Vaishnavi, any questions? Sir, other day we had a, how can we substantiate this? Okay. I mean, you are asking me like, which stood by us doing Doklam. Okay. Again, that is what I'm saying, right? Japan stood by India saying that whatever happened in Doklam. Okay, so your question is why not other countries?
Whatever I understood. In the point of Doklam crisis, like Japan came. So Japan is a very special friend to India. So, but at one point of time, we discussed that even we are not leveraging that special friendship to our own advantage. There's a lot of potential between India and Japan relations. So she want to substantiate this. Maybe we can say this special friendship is not getting translated or not getting spilled over into economic or trade areas. Like still the trade is $20 billion in spite of this special friendship. So she wanted some point to substantiate the thesis statement that we are not leveraging our very own close friends
Hmm.
to the best of our advantages.
Hmm. Okay. Why are we not putting the same? First is obviously lack of capacity, right? We do not have the capacity. And second thing, my question is this. Okay. Japan said, or Japan made a statement saying, China is doing something wrong. Okay. Will it translate into ground level movement? If a war breaks out between India and what? China, will India come? Sorry, will Japan come to help India? In theory, do you think so?
For defense, like Japan has very little to offer.
Very little to offer. So what else? Where else we can work on? I totally get it what you are saying. My question is simple.
We have a lot of crunch in our naval fleet.
Hmm.
There is a lot of asymmetry between India and China.
Hmm.
So, given that we are more invested into Indo-Pacific,
Hmm.
we can cooperate on developing our own Indian fleet. Let's say it took 20 years for an aircraft carrier to develop, but probably with Japanese technology and cooperation, it might come down to 10 years. Or maybe we can indigenize a lot of production with Japanese investments in technology.
Hmm.
Maybe hypothetical, but just.
So simply put, combining your question and her question, why are we making it? Maybe weapons can be sent to direct involvement in the war, directly no chance. Okay, again, weapon is also not something that can be sent easily, right? Okay, so simply put, I will tell you, the thing is, there is a lot of systemic issue within the country. Let's think about India-Japan relations. Okay, because of Prime Minister Modi, somehow the personal friendship and all those things, we are able to bring all these developments. How much of it is being even translated into the grassroots level again boils down to, let's say, administrative reforms, land reforms. Yes, Japan is willing to give us $75,000, but environmental impact assessment is not there, or some other problem is there, or land acquisition is a problem. So unless we modify our domestic systems, there is nothing anybody can do. Even if electric vehicles are there, okay, how many startups are working on electric vehicles, and how much of Japanese help is being taken by them? Okay, so the direct collaboration, ecosystem creation, special economic zone incentives, and all these things are policy and administrative changes. Okay, so what happens is your right hand does not know what your left hand is doing. So no, Japan is willing to give money for Northeast. Okay, so how much is it translated into the Northeast? Again, some other institution, like let's say Border Road and Development Organization or Road and Development Industry has to work. So somebody has to lay the road, then development will reach. But somebody is not laying the road, then the fund is being misused. Okay, GI products can be exported to Japan. Okay, are we consolidating all those GI products? Okay, let's say we are consolidating. Are we connecting it to Japan? Right, that P2P, B2P opportunities have to be again leveraged by Indian government, right? See, I'm not saying Indian government should do everything, but Indian government should create that ecosystem. Once ecosystems are created, automatically it will translate into India-Japan relations. Okay, so as far as I can see, like why are we not leveraging? We are not leveraging because of our silo systems. We are just functioning out, and we are like cleaning the pipes. Industry pipe is cleaned now, or infrastructure pipe is being worked out now. So all the pipes have to come down. Then there will be a smooth flow. As of now, we are not leveraging because we cannot. Okay, and that is also one credit of Indian government and not the credit. Toyota, Honda, and all these things are B2B relations. But the thing is, government encouraged them to happen. Like the Munjals and the Honda, when they came together, Hero Honda was born. Now Hero is a separate company, Honda is a separate company. Right? They got separated recently. but government entertained that idea that they can work together. So that is a good thing. It worked for India. It created a lot of mobility. Yes or no? Hero Honda is a very famous bike. Everybody used to have it, two-wheelers wise. So it increased mobility in India. Okay, the government deliberately do that. Even government wouldn't have dreamed that this would be so successful. But the thing is, somehow it worked. Okay. Yes. Anything else? Varun, understood everything? Uttam.
ఈ కాంటెక్స్ట్ ప్రకారం
ఈ కంటెక్స్ట్ ప్రకారం అర్థమైంది. ఇంకేం అర్థం కాలేదు? Anything that you did not understand?
will be the impact of this connection global.
What will be the impact of this in
Global perspective, like when compared with other nations?
అంటే
Like, can we say that India and Japan, the connection between India and Japan will be more effective than compared to other nations with India?
definitely it is already better than other relations, right? ikkada meer anta simple logic gurupeట్టుకోండి. The simple logic is India and Japan are natural friends, but they are not natural enemies. They have nothing to fight over. See, it's not that India or Japan had a deliberate reason to create all these things, right? It happened because of China. As I told you, the very first point is it happened by accident. Okay, I have a common enemy, you have a common enemy, we have common factors. Meeru democracy, I am a democracy, we shared values, I have a shared values, we are also 1,000-year civilization, I am also a 1,000-year civilization. So there are a lot of similarities. Because of China, somehow we found an opportunity to work closely. Ante, as simple as that.
Under the trade rating,
Hmm.
you put like CEPA in the first place, then the fourth largest FDI. Means that is somewhere in the fourth or fifth. If I was making it, I would have put the fourth largest investor for India in the top and CEPA maybe later.
Why? You tell me why. Yes, I appreciate your concept, but I'm asking why.
Because I feel it sets the tone. As in, India has the requirement, they have money, so we are actually leveraging it to our advantage. Is something that gets reflected in that fourth largest investor thing. So randomly, I was looking. Okay, if I was making it, then I thought I would have put it there. I mean,
Two different things. Okati, FDI is coming to India not because of CEPA. FDI is coming to India because India have the potential to industrialize. See, FDI and you have a company or you are industrializing, I'm bringing money. Okay, comprehensive economic partnership and overall framework law, FDI is a part. FDI is a subset of comprehensive. I'm talking about a colony, you're talking about a building. So colony is important, right? Colony undi kabatti building undi. So because of partnership, FDI is flowing, and FDI is flowing because of India's own policies. Government is doing all the good things, then government is able to leverage all these things. Means, as I said, the summary is we have to interlink everything. Any questions? No? Okay. So far, what are the things that we have discussed? Everything in IR. Did we cover except the theory part we have covered? Neighborhoods, Indo-Pacific. Indo-Pacific is done, right? Indian major countries, Japan, Russia, US. Major. These are the three game-changing countries for India. Then India and other nations. India and other nations technically include 190 countries. Yes or no? Yes. If I remove Quad nations, the rest of the 190 are more or less same. We cannot discuss Namibia, Somalia, Sudan. Okay. Here, other countries technically should include what? West Asia, Central Asia, and other countries. Okay. Now I will show you one more thing that you are very familiar with. Tell me the first question. France, Germany. Okay. Again, as I said, some development has to be there, right? Will I'll give handouts, don't worry, but we'll discuss. First 2019 first question. Did you understand the question? Yes, please. That is a test of me, not you. What is the question saying? The time has come for India and Japan to build a strong contemporary relationship, one involving global and strategic partnership that will have a great significance for Asia and the world as whole. So the question is elevating India-Japan relations into global relations. Okay, not only for Asia but for the whole world. Yes, please.
International order.
Both India and Japan believes in international order. Okay.
China is only dominating the unipolar, or you can say that the Asian region. By coming towards India and Japan, you can create rather than only.
Tell me some mechanisms. Alternative supply chains.
Supply chain initiatives.
By Asia African Growth Corridor. Asia, first Asia ke ela pan chestayi India, and see, think about it. There are structuring Japan kada ninna I told you structuring. So what is the question having? The question is saying three things. One is India and Japan has to build a contemporary relationship. That is A, question A. Okay, next B is contemporary relationship should involve global and strategic partnership. Global partnership undali, strategic partnership undali, with a greater significance on Asia. Asia is B and whole world is C. So India and Japan should build a partnership. That partnership should be contemporary. It should be focused on global. It should be global and strategic areas, and it should help A, that is Asia, and B, world. So how does India Japan help Asia? Point number one. Point number two is whole world. Okay. So take 1 minute and think very calmly. దీంట్లో మీకు కనిపిస్తున్న పాయింట్ లో ఏవి ఏషియన్ పాయింట్స్, ఏవి వరల్డ్ పాయింట్స్. ఓకే, యూ నీడ్ టు నో వాట్ టు యూజ్ వేర్. దట్ ఈస్ మోర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఇవి ఏషియాకి పనికొస్తాయి. ఓకే, ఇవి వరల్డ్ కి పనికొస్తాయి. Asian centrality, FOIP, UNSC reform, and together they can counter China. Again, the problem is explicitly both these countries are not even interested in saying that explicitly China is a threat. Indo-Pacific region or the world. Okay, world kuda person dani Asialo kuda vadukochu. Okay, Sendai framework, disaster management, that will help globally, right? It is not only about India. Inka, sorry, digital partnership will help Asia or India. Okay. Okay. And akkada meer etla marchukovali ante you have to tell that everything that poor countries or developing countries do not have, like fintech companies or automobiles or industrial, these things are navic. Okay, satellite, space, whatever we develop, all these things will also help Asia. But Asian centrality, as the very first point you said, is the core. Asian centrality ni chestundi, but it is also helping the small island nations. Then you expand the rest of the things. So quad lo meer em nerchukunnaro, even that knowledge you can bring and say it will help to the world. Vaccination, 5G technology, okay, disaster management, free and open rule-based order, everything will be expanded to rest of the world also. And my summary is this. Yesterday I told you the same principle, right? You won't have new content. సార్ మీరు చెప్పిన దాంట్లో ఆ క్వశ్చన్ కవర్ కాలేదు అనే కంటే ఆ క్వశ్చన్ లో ఆ డేటాలో వాట్ ఎవర్ నాలెడ్జ్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు రీయూజ్ ఇట్ టు address the question. So it's the usage of accumulated knowledge that will help you rather than new knowledge, because you are here to clear an exam, not to masters in IR. So no, see, yes, IR is a paper 2, or even if you take political science as a graduate, you will read the same things for 3 to 4 years, and it's a never-ending ocean. Yes or no? You can do PhD literally on one country, India, Japan. Yesterday I was seeing there is a term king size, queen size beds, king size. You hear the term, right? King size. So a person spent 3 or 4 years of her life going back to trace the origin of the term king size. So just ఒక term మీద మీరు రీసెర్చ్ చేయాలనుకుంటే it will take 2 to 3 years of your life. Okay, and if you go back to India Japan relations alone, you can do a PhD. So we don't want all those things. We want a one-page answer. So any question that comes on India Japan, you should be able to answer from the same keywords. Okay, that should be the primary focus. Please be very clear. Unless you write the exact term, for example, free and open Indo-Pacific region or Indo-Pacific region, Asian centrality, you are not going to get marks. But all of you also know the same story, right? But 6 months down the line, you will write in a layman terms, India and Japan are doing trade. But writing India Japan digital partnership is what is going to get you marks. You can say India and Japan are collaborating on startups, a very generic and a layman term. But writing the technical term is India Japan digital partnership. That is the difference. I hope you'll remember this. Any more questions on Japan? Quad aspect also more or less again we'll see Japan. Japan is one constant player in Quad. India was like 50-50, right? India was not convinced. What about employment in the context? Japan is not looking for anything from India, right? That is one thing. Already, as I said, knowledge workers are there in Japan. So people who studied very well in India are already working in Japan. So irrespective of our relations with Japan, Japanese companies are attracting Indian talents and Indians are happily working in Japan. So there is a connection there. But when you set up shop in India, you are always setting a shop with collaboration. So Hero, Honda, thousands of people are employed. Employment generation has happened of India. See, if you take the same thing of China, if China set up a shop in India, it wants Chinese people to come and work there, right? But when you set up a shop through Japan, Indians are getting employment. So Japan is already helping India in that aspect. We are not planning to go there. And special needs, for example, pediatric care, as I was saying, old people are senior citizens. A lot of senior citizens are there in Japan. So they need medical care, assistance, support system, health workers. So India has a lot of capital. Indian investment in Japan.
Not in Japan. Japan invest in India, then India will definitely
Expand.
That increases employment. China won't give employment to other countries. Definitely helps other countries, more countries like Africa.
Definitely.
It will increase influence also.
It will increase influence, or else what we will do is we will manufacture everything in India. Plants will be bigger, more people will be employed here. Just the outputs will be exported to other African countries or other countries.
What can be the keyword for this?
Okay. Technically, Japan promotes industrialization. Industrial cooperation is already there, right? Promote industrial cooperation. By default, when you read economy, automatically you know that industrial expansion means it includes boom cycle. Are you aware of boom cycle? Okay, tell me honestly, how many of you have read something in the last 1 month? Anything? What are you doing? I will tell you the scenario. Please tell me where you stand. The first stage of a UPSC aspirant should start with NCRTs. Okay. Then the second stage starts with moving to textbooks. The third stage starts with value addition. The commonality in all this is newspaper. Irrespective of the stage, you have to read newspaper. Okay. Now, timeline wise. Okay. You should be done with your textbooks if you are writing 2023 attempt by Feb. From Feb to May, you have time for value addition. Yes, I don't want to break your hearts, but you can also have timeline for NCRT. The time for NCRT is so by November end, you should be done with NCRTs. December, January till February ending, you can read standard textbooks. March to May only for value addition, assuming you will write something in 2023. No? So you exactly have 1 month in your hand to complete all the NCRTs. Now there is one more formula that is called as 888 formula. Okay, most important thing, sleep, rest, study. If you do this also, you should happily clear UPSC exam for 1 year if you follow this formula. Okay, right. Right now, how many hours are you putting in? I don't understand one thing. Please enlighten me. You have classes from 10:30 to 12:30. For some reason, you don't get time to read newspaper throughout the day. Okay, and I think it's been more than 40 days you started your UPSC preparation. You don't know the syllabus copy. Okay, you don't know the PYQ. You are reading things for sake of reading. Either you are stuck in the school mindset. Yes, joining an institute means I will do something in the class. I am done with the class. Do and done does not apply to UPSC. The actual work starts after the class. Thinking, the most difficult thing is thinking. Now, even if I add optional classes, so 2 + 2, 4 hours or 5 hours you are reading, 3 hours you still have free time, and you cannot read NCRTs, you are not reading newspapers. Then November will come, January will come and ask me, sir, I am planning to move my attempt to 2024. Yes, I will take a stick and start beating you then and there. No. Why? On day 1, I told you, like you have to read the 3 levels. ఎంతమంది NCRT అయ్యాయి? How many of you have done NCRTs? Class, again, please don't tell me class names. Okay, nobody suggested. That is the most, I don't know. If somebody told you to read every NCRT from 6th to 12th class, you should beat that person or you should stop believing that person. Okay. If I told you, again, you can correct me, but I don't think I told you to read every NCRT out there. Hardly have 6 or 7 NCRTs to read. Then what's happening? Jabardast. No? What are you asking? Nothing. But still time is going away. Reading. What have you read? Please tell me. Geography. Okay. What are Jovian planets? Jovian, Jovian planets. Except her, if anybody answers, you will hear it from me. Why? Why are they called as Jovian planets? I am not asking who. I am asking you why. Where will you find this secret information? You have to go to Archaeological Survey of India, file an RTI and get the data, or you can open the first page of NCRT, physical geography. No? Jovian planets are gaseous planets. Planets which do not have gases are not. Yes. Okay, so there is a difference between reading and reading. No? Yes. Okay. So please, yes, good for you, Supraja. You wasted a good amount of time. Okay. No. Again, seriously speaking, if you don't complete the books, again, I will tell you. I told you. I think I guess Kathakali dance, red color, green color, blue color, black color. From that all the way to planets, from there to quantum entanglement, all the way back to Lakshmikant and different case names, constitutional amendments, environment, biodiversity, GEAC. There is tons and tons of things for you to read. If you waste time, okay, be very clear, you are wasting your attempt. And I have drawn this already. If you are writing in 2023, your result will come in what? 2024 March, unless there is no COVID 4th, 5th wave. Okay. If you write in 2024 May, your result will come in 2025 March. In September, you have what? Prelims, mains. Okay. All this is what, when you clear every stage, prelims stage, mains stage, and interview stage. If you fail, you fail in 2025, 3 years from now. 23, 24, 25. This is your second attempt. This is your first attempt. Okay. The thing is depth. What is expected of you is depth. So I have made a list. You can go through this list. Okay. These are the suggested NCRTs that you have to read. That too for a very specific subject. If you take economy, there is only one thing. Polity, there are only 4. History, again, there are 3. Geography, there are only 4. And 12th class NCRT is outdated. You can directly skip it. Okay. 11th class, 2 blue NCRTs you have to read. You can read NIOS for environment. This is what you are supposed to do in the basic stage, first stage. So if you can complete all these 10 or 12 NCRTs, that is more than enough. Okay, because the work actually lies on the right hand side, not on the beginning, right? So there is a lot to do on a later date. As of now, you have only one thing, that is to complete these NCRTs as soon as possible. If you read everything from 6th to 12th class NCRT, forget 2023. Okay, and again, this is time tested. Time tested in the sense, basic means questions will come from these areas only. You don't have to do PhD, right? Everybody can come and claim, okay, you have to read everything from 6th to 12th. Because it's my subject, I will tell you read polity, read IR, read geography. What do I have to lose? But what is the purpose also? And second thing, you have completed NCRT, but you don't remember a single line. Why? You never have the perspective. You don't even know why you are reading them. You are reading them because sir told you, or that is a common crowd wisdom. Okay, I have to read NCRTs. Why NCRTs? What will you get out of NCRTs? Nobody knows. Do you even look at the questions of the end of the chapter? Right? If you remember them, half of the NCRTs will be covered very easily. Okay. And there are some NCRTs which you have to digest like anything. You have to remember everything from every corner. They might ask simple questions like, what is the temperature that is required for jute cultivation or cotton cultivation? And in the prelims, you will think, where did this stuff question come from? If you go to 11th class NCRT and open that chapter, in front of your eyes, it will be there. Cotton, for 180 days, it should be fast free, bouncer. That directly comes from NCRT. Last 3 years, every single polity question came from NCRTs. Literally every single question, because people are mugging up Lakshmikant so nicely. UPSC just went a step down, not high, and people are getting questions wrong. Okay, and I don't want to rant here, but there is a student who is stupid enough to not even realize that, and that person was blaming Lakshmikant. Sorry, question is not coming from Lakshmikant. First of all, Lakshmikant or no book promised you that questions will come from my book. Second thing, it's common sense for you to understand what is majority, minority, liberty, fundamental rights from NCERT. If you don't know fundamental rights purpose, then you reading article 14 to 26 or 32 is irrelevant. You should know why fundamental rights exist in the first place. Is fundamental right a limitation on the state or on the individual? If you don't know that, go back and read NCERTs. Blaming is very easy because we don't rise to the level of UPSC. We want UPSC to come to our level. I will do it only for 6 hours. Please come down to my level. Why will that happen? Right. So I think you are definitely on side track. Please come to the main track and utilize time as soon as possible. If you waste time now, what will happen? In May, you will pray that you have 25 hours a day. Or else you will subconsciously do one thing, that is give up. Don't worry, it will take one attempt to realize. So please don't waste time. And one thing is, I seriously don't understand this. You have mentors. Throughout the country, you have mentors. I don't know what kind of ego stops people from contacting mentors. Okay. You don't call a mechanic when your car is working smoothly, right? Yes or no? Do your father or you call, mechanic, my car is working fine, please come and take a look at it. Why will you call a mechanic when things are not working? Yes. You need help when you don't understand what you are doing. Either it's innocence or arrogance. Only two cases. Total innocence, or I don't know what to ask, what not to ask. Or arrogance, I know everything. Okay. If you really understand everything, next year I should see your name in the final list. Then in the same chair, I will make you sit here and I will start a YouTube channel and say, she or he is my student. In the first attempt, she cracked UPSC. She knows everything. Please ask her doubts. Okay, that is one case scenario. Or else it's innocence that you don't know what to read, what not to read. Take the help. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you start reinventing the wheel, what will happen? 2 years. Again, see, this is not me being angry. It is my pure agony because I have seen more people waste their life in the name of UPSC. It's not easy. It's simple. Definitely simple exam, but not easy exam. You have to work hard. You need to remember everything. I told you multiple times. If you are not worthy of UPSC, go home, do something else. Life will be good. If you are in UPSC, if you spend 10 minutes, you should read whatever you are supposed to read and you should remember it. It's better to sleep than read with half-hearted mind or not knowing. Yes. So people are investing years and years, and still, in spite of all these things, they are not clearing. Then you should question yourself: what are you doing with your life, your attempt? Yes. You can ask him or batch before him or before them. You can ask anyone. I don't change my stand. I'm here. I will say the same things. I'm actually bored saying the same things. But still, the attitudes don't change. The success rate doesn't change because everybody thinks he's smart. I don't deny that you are smart, but you need to follow a proper strategy. Yes. You are an IIT gold medalist. UPSC will not give a left foot. Why? It doesn't care. There are tens and tens of IIT gold medalists who are writing UPSC. For you, your family, you are a superstar. Oh, IIT gold medalist. Who cares in UPSC? Nobody cares. You crack this exam, you clear prelims, you clear mains, you come to interview, then I will reward you. Yes. Even the Gaurav Agarwal, All India first ranker, when he went to first interview, IIT plus IIM, a wonderful aspirant, already working as a fantastic job. He was not rewarded by UPSC. Go home. Then he has to come back again and improve his rank. So UPSC does not give two things about who you are. You have to prove it in this exam. So modify things, work on the basics, try to complete at least the left side list by November. Okay. So only then you will have some progress. And most importantly, please mug up the PYQs. You don't even know where you are spending your energies. Then what is the point? Got it? Yes. If you have anything, you can message me on Telegram, right? I hope you have my Telegram ID. No? It's Kalyan's. ZZ. No problem. Yes. Anyhow, you meet me on a daily basis, right? In these classes. Those are online. Those are very far off. You know, there is a hostel nearby in Allakunta. People feel it's very difficult to come from there to here. It takes 1 year for them to come from there to here. Yes. No, not targeting him. He knows. Okay. Yes, there are others who find it very difficult to travel 1 kilometer or half a kilometer because it's always different. And the time invested is not 10 minutes, it's 1.5 years. And they will understand, oh, I saved 10 minutes. You wasted 1.5 years. Whose loss? No? You can message me on Telegram if you're online, if you're having any questions or whatsoever. Or else if you can come here, that will be fantastic. Okay, let's see you all tomorrow.